everybody, it's Brittany. Welcome back to my channel. And if you've been here before, welcome back. If you haven't been here before, welcome. I am an autistic girl, and I do book-related and autism-related videos. And today I just wanted to come to you with a little life update and a little book review. If you're wondering why you're not seeing me in this video, it's because this is the second video that I filmed today, and I just filmed my STEM Autistic Sims video that I have recently uploaded, and so I'm going to be uploading this one today as well. This is going to be a book review of this book, Matt Monroe and the Secret Society of Odontology by Edward Torba. This is a really, really great book. I was sent this by a woman who works with authors, and Keri-Rae Barnum. Thank you so much to her for sending this to me. This was part of a box of books that I was sent that I had the option to read and review. There was no obligation to review them, but I read this one and I really thought that it definitely deserved a review. So that's what today's video is going to be. But my anxiety, I have really bad anxiety, and also just being autistic, my spoons are pretty low with this heat, and it's just really hard for me to film myself in more than one video in a day. If I'm filming more than one video in a day, usually I'll film one showing myself, and then the rest of them I will film without showing my face, because it's just easier for me that way. I find it takes less spoons and less energy, and I find it easier. So that's that. So for the life update, everything's going well. Puppy's training is going really, really well. They're doing really well with their training. If you don't know, we have two puppies. My husband has one and I have one, and we've been training them. And yeah, we're just getting ready to head out to, we're going to visit my mother-in-law for the long weekend. We live with my mom and my stepdad, so we see them all the time, and my dad lives very close by, so we get to see him quite a bit as well. But we don't get to see my in-laws very often, so we're going to go visit my mother-in-law for the long weekend. So it's really exciting. I'm really excited to go. Also, I am getting a new phone. So I had the LG Q6, but what happened was it turned out that it just wasn't working for me. The screen was just a bit too small for me. I like a bigger phone and my tablet, but I definitely wanted at minimum a 6-inch phone. So I had originally wanted the Moto G7 Power, and I like the fact that the G7 Power charges with USB Type-C, so which is the same thing that my my tablet charges with, and that's kind of where everything's going anyway. So but the LG Q6, it's a nice little phone, but it's only 5.5-inch display, but it is nice. The bezels are very thin, and it's really quite a nice little phone. And I also didn't like the fact that it charged with micro USB. My hubby actually really loves micro USB. That's another reason why I gave him my old LG K9. So I originally had the LG K9. His iPhone went kaput, and so I gave him my LG K9, at which point I went out and got the LG Q6, thinking that with the thinner bezels I would be happy with it, but I just wasn't. And plus, there were a couple apps that I was trying to run for communication apps and that run great on my tablet, but they just weren't running very well on the LG Q6, just simply because of the screen size. I just found them difficult to use because of the 5.5-inch screen. Even though the bezels are really, really small, there's a really, really good screen to phone ratio. It just wasn't really that great. It wasn't running all the apps I needed it to run. And so I decided I talked to my mom, and it turns out we had bought her the Alcatel U50 because her phone had stopped working altogether before. She had like an old Samsung phone, like really old, and so we went and we bought her the Alcatel U50. But with the U50, it just wasn't working very well. It didn't support a lot of the apps that she wanted. And on top of that, she wasn't getting very good service with it. Her SIM card, it just wasn't working very well in terms of, reading, like, I don't know if it was reading the SIM card or what, but she just wasn't getting very good service with it. So I popped it into my LG Q6, and it worked fantastic. And the LG Q6, it really ran all the apps that she wanted. So I wiped my LG Q6 and gave it to her, and she wanted to pay me for it, but I just told her, look, instead of paying me for it, I told her what it was worth, and instead of paying me for it, I just asked her to buy me the Moto G7 Power from Amazon, and she said that would be perfect. That way she got a new phone, well, new to her anyway. She got the LG Q6 from me, which is great. It runs everything she wants. It's the perfect size for her. And for me, I get the Moto G7 Power, which was the phone that I originally wanted anyway. But the only reason I went with the LG Q6 is because I couldn't afford the Moto G7 Power. The LG Q6 I got secondhand, and it was perfect. It was great condition. At the time, I couldn't afford the G7 Power, but my mom really liked the LG Q6, so we talked, and she said that she would take the LG Q6 and for herself, and that she would buy me the Moto G7 Power, which she did. So thank you very much, Mama, for that. It was amazing. It was a great deal. It benefited both of us really well, I think. I love how we can do things like that. I love my mom. She's amazing. So anyway, so that's kind of where the phone situation is at. And my hubby's in full support, obviously, of me giving her my phone and getting a phone that I'm really going to be happy with. So, okay, yeah, there's not much new to report. I got a new stim toy. It's one of those liquid timers. You probably can't see it from over here, but as you can see, there's my little tripod, and there it is beside it. It's one of those liquid timer things. I'm really enjoying it. So, okay, on to the book review. So, this is a book review of Matt Monroe and the Secret Society of Odontology by Edward Torba. Now, this book is really very interesting. It's definitely a middle grade book. If you're not getting those vibes from the cover, it is definitely a middle grade book. The writing is very sort of Rick Riordan-esque. It's really it's a high fantasy, very kind of it's definitely a middle grade book. You can definitely tell that it's aimed towards a middle grade audience, but people of all ages can enjoy it. It's really a gorgeous book. In terms of themes, there's a lot of themes of sort of good and evil, and like fantasy. There's like connections with family and love, and perseverance and heroism, and just never giving up, even in the face of, extreme evil. That you can be the hero and you can make the difference. And it's just really, really a great little adventure. I don't want to give too much away, so I'm not going to read the whole back, but just an ancient prophecy, a hidden world of magic and monsters, a secret society that holds the key. So basically, Matt Monroe is this kid. He lives in Pennsylvania. He lives and works on a small farm with his mom and dad and brother, and he ends up stumbling across some things that end up leading him to this secret society, and he ends up going into this world, this sort of alternate world, and ends up fighting this, extreme evil, and ends up, helping to kind of, I'm not going to spoil the ending for you, but basically here, this pretty much explains it. Matt, his older brother, and 5 friends are transported to a magical dimension called Paragon to face deadly monsters and fight a heroic battle against an evil enemy. Will they find the sacred stone in time to save the world? So basically, yeah, so that's pretty much what it's about. It's a really, really good book. I felt like the characters were really, really well done. I was very impressed. Like I said, it's very Rick Riordan-esque, but it's definitely, it's a really, really good book. The characters, especially Matt and his brother, I found were really, really fleshed out well. They were very, very, like, 3-dimensional characters. I didn't find them flat at all. The story moved along at a really good pace, which I liked. I very much look for that in a middle grade novel. Middle grade novels, I find, I don't feel like they should be slow. Like, slow paced. Like, to keep a middle grader's attention, I think it needs to be, fairly fast paced and kind of adventurous to keep them from getting bored. So it definitely hit in terms of its target audience. But yeah, I definitely, when I was reading it, I never got bored. I always found that the story moved along at a very good pace. Any big words that were used well. The story didn't feel choppy. It flowed really nicely. And overall, it was just a really, really good, solid read. It wasn't, like, life-changing, for sure, but it was definitely a good, solid read, and it was fun. It was a fun adventure. So if you're looking for, if you're a middle grader, or even if you're an adult, if you're just looking for something light and fun, but something that's still, long enough to keep your interest. Like, I find when people talk about light and fun books, oftentimes they're very short. This one was definitely long enough. You can see it is, it's 299 pages, so it's definitely long enough, and it would make for a really good, I think, like a light summer read. Like, it's really great for, if you're looking for something light and fun. If you're in a reading slump, I would definitely recommend this, because it's very easy to read, and it's really light, and it's really fun, and it's really adventurous, and it just really brings you back to the joy of reading and why you want to read in the first place. At least for me it did. I generally don't read classics or, like, big, heavy, like, literary fiction, like, oh, you have to read this book and, dive deep into the meanings behind it, and I don't bother with that nonsense, to be completely honest with you. I really don't. I just read for the fun of reading. That's literally why I read. I read for the fun of reading and for the camaraderie-ship of the characters. In terms of that, if I really get sucked into a book and really attached to the characters, it makes me feel like I'm there with them. And they almost become like friends. Like friends that you could pick up and put in your pocket or in your backpack or whatever and take with you. So anyway, but overall, this was a really, really good, solid read. I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. Now, for criticisms, there's not really too much bad I can say about this book, to be honest with you. If it was targeted towards a different market, if it had missed its target market, I would have had more criticisms. But to be honest with you, the way that this book is written really, really works for the target market that it's aimed at. And I'm really, really impressed. I'm very impressed with the cover design. I'm very impressed with just the whole design and the whole telling of the story. It's beautiful. Like I especially love like these little designs that they have in there, like that, like those little kind of pictures they have going in between the text. I find it helps to break up the text. I find that it's just, I don't know, it's just overall a really good, solid read. Matt and his friends have a beautiful relationship. I love his relationship with his family. I love his perseverance. I love how he helps to, overcome adversity, and I just really love it. I just think it's a really, really great book. It has a lot of great themes that you can discuss with your kid if you're reading this book to a kid, or if you have a kid who's reading this book. But it's just really, really well done. There's nothing too heavy. There's nothing that would be, inappropriate for a middle grader, I don't think. It's really, really well done, and I'm very, very impressed. So it's a good, solid read. Like I said, it wasn't life-changing, and for me, for a book to get like 4 or 5 out of 5 stars, it needs to be absolutely life-changing. This isn't. It's very classic. It's a very sort of very kind of a tried and true kind of plot, good versus evil, that kind of thing. But the way that it's done is really, really fun, and it's really a fun adventure to go on. It's definitely not boring. It might be a little bit predictable in some areas, but for the most part, it kept me going. It kept my interest. So anyway, I definitely would recommend this book if you're looking for something light and a good summer read, just nothing too heavy. Definitely would recommend Matt Monroe and the Secret Society of Odontology by Edward Torba. Especially, if you like fantasy, if that's your thing. I love fantasy, so this was really helpful in that respect. But yeah. So that is my book review of Edward Torba and Matt Monroe and the Secret Society of Odontology by Edward Torba. 3.5 out of 5 stars. And it looks like it says number 1 at the bottom, so it's looking like I'm guessing this is going to be a series. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you'd like to see more like this, comment below, comment. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you're notified every time I upload a new book review or a new video. And I will see you all next time. Alright guys. I can't really wave at the screen because it's not facing me. But, alright guys. Bye.